Keystone Oil Pipeline has been a contested project since its inception. Now, earlier this year, the U.S. government denied an application from the TransCanada Corporation for the drilling of the pipeline. But now they're reapplying for the federal permit, and President Barack Obama has said the U.S. is open to reviewing it. Now, here in studio today to shed some light on this topic is attorney Erin Pinder. Welcome, Erin.
Hi, how are you?
Good name, by the way.
Yes, it is.
Now, this is a very hot topic. There's documentaries, everyone's talking about it, and there's a lot of hoopla going on. Can you tell us what some of the possible environmental effects of the Keystone Pipeline would be for the U.S.?
Some of the major environmental effects that I see are, one, the increase of greenhouse emissions, the actual environmental impact that it would take to build a pipeline through the country, and it can potentially harm some indigenous animals as they're building it. Maybe they might displace them. There's also talk about hurting, interrupting the migratory pattern of the birds as they fly down. And one thing that I haven't seen being discussed during the Keystone Pipeline talk is the effect that it's going to have in Middle America. Building it, that part of the country, a lot of people don't know, has been very harmed because of all the fertilizers in the farmland. And the Gulf of Mexico is what we have as a dead zone because of all the fertilizers coming down the Mississippi River. And being this Keystone Pipeline may possibly be placed in that same area, I think it's extremely concerning based on all the environmental problems in that side of the part of the area.
So this is kind of environmental piling on, if you will.
I believe so. I believe so, yes.
Now, in your background is in environmental law. The president said early on in this process, look, we've got to study this, while his Republican counterpart said, well, no, we need to go ahead with it because we need the jobs. How much credence do you give to his request for the environmental study?
Well, I think in this economy, especially with all the societal needs and the population growth, I think you do kind of have to do a cost-benefit analysis, and that's, I think, what the different political parties are asking to do. Hey, is the jobs going to outweigh some of the environmental effects? And I do think that the president should listen to that. But I do think some of the environmental effects are extremely large and extremely concerning. One thing I forgot to mention that the EPA has brought to our attention when they send the letter, not supporting the Keystone Pipeline, is some of the potential oil leaks that will affect the underground water and the aquifers. So I do think that you have to look at kind of, is the benefits of the job creation and maybe some of our, reducing our dependence on the foreign oil sources going to outweigh the environmental impacts.
Now, how do some of the local individuals in the states in which the pipeline would go through, how are they feeling about this?
I think that they're mixed. I think some of them who are more tuned into the environmental damage and the water, with the leaking kind of come in, I think they're concerning. But I also do think that in that area, there are a lot of people who are hurting for jobs and would probably like to see some of the construction work come into their states.
You were talking about the effect on underwater aquifers. Did that
Yes.
include the Colorado River? Is it that close? Because that's a major source of water for California and Nevada.
To be honest with you, I'm not quite sure whether it's going to affect more the Colorado River or the Mississippi River. I'm not quite sure where it is, but wherever it is, both of those rivers have been extremely impacted based off, because of the different farming that's done in the Middle America and just our, our day-to-day non-point source pollution that runs off into our rivers. And also one thing is with water pollution is that the smaller rivers and non-points, they always go back to the larger water source. So even if it's not going to directly affect the Colorado River or maybe the Mississippi River, one of our bigger rivers, it still can have a huge impact on the tributary rivers.
What type of legal impacts can the Keystone Pipeline have on the individual states?
Well, the EPA sets the regulations and the guidelines, and the states had the obligation to stay within those. And so if you're going to put a pipeline in a state that might make it harder for it to comply with the Clean Air Act or the Clean Water Act by making more emissions and making it having oil leaks, then the states may either be fined or they can either lose appropriation money.
Oh, that's it. Well, and that's important to the states. Erin, thank you so much. It's shed a lot of light onto a very, very sensitive topic.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.